Welcome in, everyone. This is the Week 9 recap. We are the Sports Buds. I'm your host for this one. I'm Tony Parlay. Joining me, as always, we've got Nicopedia down there, and we've got Chris Billings. How are you guys doing today? I'll start with you, Nick.
I mean, I could be doing better, but happy to get past this week. Got a bye week now, ready to talk some football. Not have to worry about picking my game this week.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Went with him. We're on that same misery loves company
Mm-hmm.
boat. How are you doing, Chris? How was your bye week?
My bye week was great. I watched both of you just cry and get your asses kicked. But no, I'm good. There's only hockey and Mac football on right now. I did vote, so that's how my Tuesday's going.
Okay, you're speaking of voting. Let's go ahead and vote on which one of these games, in these marquee games, there was 4 of them this weekend. We had Dolphins, Chiefs, Seahawks, Ravens, Cowboys, Eagles, and Bills, Bengals. Every single favorite won. All of the underdogs lost. And my question is, which one of these underdogs do you have faith in moving forward? I'll start with you, Nick.
I mean, it should be no surprise here. I got the most faith in the Dolphins because the defense is finally getting healthy. They played for the first time healthy all year. They held Patrick Mahomes to 14 points. Bradley Chubb's got sacks in 4 consecutive games. Jalen Phillips has got him in 3. And you're getting all that pressure on the offense. On the back end now, you got Ramsey, you got X, and you got Holland all finally healthy. And you look on the flip side of the offense, I believe that Mike McDaniel will get this offense going, especially against some of these bigger teams. And the thing that helps them the most is that they finish at home. They got 4 of the last 5 games at home, including the Cowboys and the Bills. So now maybe they'll get one of those big time games against someone at home rather than on the road. Might be a little bit different story.
That's fair. So that's what your takeaways from that Chiefs loss were, with the
Yeah,
defense
because
coming
the
alive?
defense, the defense, because aside from the opening touchdown, the opening drive giving up the touchdown, they gave up one other touchdown. And then in the second half, I think they held the Chiefs below 50 yards in both passing and rushing. So I do take away the defense finally gelling together now that they're healthy. I will take that away from this game.
I do agree. I do agree with that. What were your thoughts on that game in Germany, Billings?
That's the Chiefs. Like anytime you think they're down, they're gonna just come back with fury, and that's exactly what I predicted for that game. I was like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
good luck to the Dolphins, but I that's the Chiefs that I've seen with Patrick Mahomes for years now. Like I'm sure Josh Allen can tell you all about it. I'm sure there's players on the Texans that can tell you all about it from a few years ago. Titans players that can tell you all about it. It's just they're an annoying team, and that's totally what I expected for them. Is that the moments that they need to shine, they'll shine and they'll get the job done. And I fully expect them to do that till probably the AFC Championship game or the Super Bowl.
That's fair. It was an
Yeah.
interesting game. To Nick's point, I don't think many people expected it to go the way that it did. Chiefs race out to that 21-0 lead. The Dolphins battle back.
But why?
What do
Why
you
why
mean?
why why were so many people surprised by that game?
Defensive touchdown. Patrick Mahomes not
Uh,
really doing much in the second half.
Like I've said, we've seen it before where it's just, yeah, we always cite Patrick Mahomes, but we've seen those games where Patrick Mahomes really hasn't had to do anything and the team still wins. Like for me, it's more just like it speaks to yeah, the speed and flash is great on any given week, and watching that with the Dolphins, watching them score 70 points, like that's all fine and dandy. But I feel like these speed teams, these finesse teams we've talked about, when you knock them off their spot, like they're easily beatable. And I feel like the Chiefs have done that now, the Bills have done that now with the Dolphins. We've talked about it with the Lions of just, yeah, these like speed finesse teams, when reality to win a playoff game, it's a battle in the trenches. It's all three phases of football. And that's what we saw in that Germany game is the Dolphins, like they really just got outmatched in I'd say two of those phases, definitely.
I
And
mean,
then
but I think we finally reached a point in the NFL that there's no teams that are really invincible. There's none of those great teams anymore because you even look at the Chiefs and the Eagles, they've both been knocked off this year. So each team to their own. So yeah, the Chiefs and the Bills and the Eagles did beat the Dolphins, and the Dolphins did struggle against those teams, but those same teams struggle against other teams. So it's not like they're all invincible.
and I get that, like, but that's like you could have said that about Brady's Patriot teams of just like yeah,
Yeah.
like they can get beaten, but like when you start spreading it out over a decade, like they're gonna win every other matchup, and that's how I feel about with the Chiefs of just yeah, we can sit here and criticize them in the regular season, but we all know what it comes down to. Like I feel like all of us as football watchers, analysis, whatever, like we're beating around the bush of just like, yeah, like unless like Patrick Mahomes goes down, Travis Kelsey goes down, um, like that team, like the only way they're gonna get beaten is in the playoff by like just a weird game, whether it's against like the Bengals or somebody else in the AFC, maybe the Ravens this year.
I don't know. We'll
Which still
see.
goes to my point that they're not invincible
They're not
because you just
invincible,
named
but
2, 3 teams that
they're
could beat
they're
them in the
by far
playoffs.
the favorite.
I don't know if they're by far the favorite. They don't feel like
I think
the
it's a lot more
same.
wide open.
I agree with Nick. They don't feel like they're in the same level as they were last year, even.
Yeah, the
And
last few
We said
years.
that exactly last year with them of oh,
Yeah,
they
but the
don't look as
difference
good
is
as the year before.
the
And what did
difference
they
is
do?
the difference is it's not Patrick Mahomes carrying them this year. It's their defense. And that's
yeah,
why it's different.
yeah,
Because the Chiefs offense is only averaging 23 points a game. So it's not like he's carrying them, it's their defense that's carrying them because
Yeah,
they're
but
second in the league and giving up what? Like 16 points a game.
that's what great teams do.
Yeah.
Is they find a way to beat you. And that's what scares me about the Chiefs is like, yeah, we can sit there and write off that they like that Broncos game, that was like an any given Sunday game. And everyone's had their bad losses this season. Whether you're the Eagles, whether you're the Lions, the Chiefs, the Dolphins, the Bills, whatever, Bengals, everyone's had an ugly loss this year. It's it's just I feel like we're just beating around the bush with the Chiefs of just like until somebody can just beat them in the playoffs, we're gonna be talking about them like this for the next 10 weeks.
you mean someone like Joe Burrow and the Bengals?
That
I mean,
but
it's not like we haven't
that's
seen
what
that.
my hope is. Like that's my hope is I hope that the Bengals can like do what they've done in years past, get their shit together. Like hell, I wouldn't mind if it was the Bills. I wouldn't mind if it was the Ravens. Like I'll take anyone other than the Chiefs. Like, but they're a dynasty in that regard. They are the Patriots. Like they're just the new Patriots.
Okay, we'll cycle back then. Do you think the Dolphins could beat the Chiefs in the playoffs? Since that's what we're talking about with Nick's team here.
I don't.
I think
I
they
do
could.
have concerns. I do have concerns about that offense not being able to score against good teams. I would give the benefit of the doubt to McDaniel to figure out when A Chain comes back what that does because he is like a
Yeah.
force multiplier for that offense, and you didn't have him against the Chiefs or the Eagles. But you maybe I don't know. It's weird, Nick. I don't know how to evaluate the Dolphins if in a month the defense is better than the offense and Tua and that offense can't score anymore.
Yeah.
And Jalen Ramsey and the defense is what's leading that team. Like it seems like that's what's happening right now, and
I
it's
mean,
real
it's been
interesting.
Jalen Ramsey's been back for 2 games.
I
So,
know, but they shut down Mahomes for an entire second
yeah.
half, and the defense is just gonna get better with Fangio and Ramsey and that team getting more comfortable with each other, I assume. And it's just weird that the offense is trending down and the defense is trending up. So that's why it's like, I don't know. It's interesting. I'll see what happens when, like I said, when they get A Chain back, maybe I'll get a better view of that
Yeah, I mean,
offense.
it's all gonna do with health because they're gonna finally they're still missing offensive linemen. They're still missing other weapons. So that could be a partial factor on what this offense, why they're not say as good as cohesive as they were earlier in the year.
Yeah, that they do, and like you said, they have the schedule. That last game at home against the Bills, it's going to have playoff implications. I'm very confident of that. It's going to be a good game. I would also agree with you. Of all those teams, I do have more faith in the Dolphins over all of them, just slightly over the Cowboys right now, based on what I'm seeing from that defense. To be honest, and the X factor of A-Chain. We'll go to Chris. Which one of these teams did you agree with us with the Dolphins, or do you have another answer for one of these teams that you have faith in over
No, like honestly, my answer is the Bills.
You think you have faith in the Bills
Yes,
over
I
all
think
these
everyone
teams?
is burying the Bills way too early right now. Like it's like that Toby Keith song, and in terms of how I see the Bills, of like, yeah, I might not be as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was. And I think the Bills, like, they could surprise someone in the playoffs and
If they
potentially,
make it,
if they, yeah, I think they will.
because they got a brutal schedule coming up, and already having 4 losses, I believe many of them within the conference could
yeah,
end up hurting them.
but I also think we're getting to a point where the AFC is finally starting to even out. Like, and the Bills they're better than most of the AFC West. They're better than most of the AFC South. Um, like they're better than the Jets. Like they're better than the Patriots.
They've
Teams they
lost to
lost
both of
to.
those teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rather have that loss early in the season than late.
I know the Bills.
I'm just saying, I think people are burying the Bills way too early, and we could be in discussion 3 weeks from now of like what we're having with the Bengals, of like, oh yeah, like
I
they're actually
mean,
still a good team.
what have you seen with the Bills over the last 5 weeks that would have you come to that conclusion, though? Because they lost, they're 2-3, and they could have easily lost those other two.
Yeah, I think it's just Josh Allen. With if you can minimize his mistakes and get him to play consistent, like he's a great quarterback. You just have to minimize those mistakes from him. I think that they can eventually get their pass rush rolling and get their defense healthy as well. And it's really no different than other Bills teams we've seen. Like I go to the game against the Dolphins. Of that was a game where, like, yes, they showed up. They were prepped for that game and they wanted to make a statement in that game. And that shows who the Bills, like, what their ceiling really is for them. And that's why I say, like, they can be as good once as they ever were. Like, even though they're not as good as they were in years past.
I don't know. I don't know, man. That if you're critical of the Dolphins being able to beat the Chiefs, I don't think you can credit the Bills for their key win being against the Dolphins. And so I do realize that the Bills have the same record right now that they did last year, but it does feel like there isn't like a health question like there was for Joe Burrow and the Bengals. I don't imagine something magical is going to happen health wise to the Bills next week where we're all of a sudden like, oh, everything's hunky dory again. I think Josh Allen was a great quarterback for one season when he had Brian Dable and finished like runner up in MVP voting. But since that time, it's been downhill and it's been a bad trajectory that we have seen. And it's just getting worse. And they have to play the Chiefs and the Eagles in like the next month. And so I'm just like, that's maybe they split and that's 5 losses. And like Nick says, but then they have that Dolphins game at the end of the season in Miami. Still got to go play against the Cowboys and the Chart. Like they still have a tough schedule, man. I don't know. It's really difficult. That's a surprising answer.
Jets have that
Maybe
same schedule though.
the Jets. I mean, yeah. I'm just surprised that you would pick them, the Bills as the answer here. Man,
Like
they would have
really
to
the
show me
only
something.
team that I could see taking the Bills spot from them in the playoffs is the Browns.
The Browns? Okay. What about the Texans?
I could see that as well.
Texans are probably going to win that division.
The Jags have the best record in
Yeah.
that division.
I don't see them overtaking the Jags as well as Trevor Lawrence is playing right now.
And again, the Jags beat the Bills already this year, along with that Patriots team and along with that Jets team that you mentioned. So, I mean, I would have confidence that Jags would beat the Bills again if they played them. That game wasn't really that close.
Hey, Jags are another team that they actually have to prove that they can win playoff games.
They won one last year.
Yeah, they
They
came
beat the
back
Chargers.
27-0.
Yeah.
Let's not give people credit for beating the Chargers, something that's historically been done for decades now. Like that's just even when they had
Fair
LT and Phillip Rivers, like they're losing playoff games. So like that, that's my personal record book, not giving it to them. But like as far as the AFC, it's Bengals, Chiefs, Bills in terms of teams that have been there and done it before.
Okay. I mean, I don't have the Bills in that conversation. I don't know why you do. Like I said, we see them differently. It seems like they're on that downhill.
Clip it. We'll revisit this in 9
Yeah.
weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll agree to disagree.
I know
sure.
Nick's never gonna agree with me on this topic. I don't know, man. I'm down on the Dolphins right now. I think between the Bills and the Chiefs game, I've seen things that I don't like from a playoff team. Now, like I said, we're only halfway through the season. Like, got a lot of football to play. But yeah, not as high on the Dolphins as I was to start the season.
That's fair.
It's understandable. Okay. Is anyone's stock going to get higher than CJ Stroud's right now?
I don't think so.
Dude, he doesn't even look like
chance.
He doesn't even look like a good rookie quarterback. He just looks like a legit good quarterback in the league. And that's why I was like, what quarterback does he remind you of when you watch him?
I was trying to think of someone. I really couldn't. Maybe, honestly, the person he replaced a little bit.
Dude, 100% with you. Like, my brain must be lazy because I said, like, when Deshaun Watson was good, like back in like the first time, this is like, I was like, we're in deja vu. Like when Deshaun Watson was first the quarterback of the Texans, he looked exactly like this, right?
That's the closest thing I could come to, but I didn't want to say that. But
it feels so lazy. It feels so lazy. But yes, I was 100%. I wrote that down. I was like, this guy looks like Deshaun Watson 10 years ago. Like it's like so natural for him. And so I was like, wow, man, the Texans got one right here. He's looking really good because I don't really
messed that up.
Yeah, man. Panthers, they definitely messed that up. And apparently, like, they wanted him. Apparently, all the Panthers coaching staff wanted CJ Stroud, and the owner was like, nope, we're going to draft Bryce Young. Make it work. Here you guys go, and turned in the card. And so, yeah, I don't know. Sorry, Frank Reich.
We still got a lot to see. Like, it's just, we've seen it from rookie QBs where they can be explosive in that first year, and then the second year, the sophomore slump, once tape is out on them, there's decline. And so that's more what I want to see out of CJ Stroud. And I know that's asking so much in a world where we demand immediacy, but it's really what it's going to take. It's going to take a couple more years of evaluation for both Stroud and Bryce Young to see how he does. Like Bryce Young though, like if he plays like this next year, they're probably out on him.
Yeah, man, I would normally agree with you, but I feel like they're asking CJ Stroud to do a lot more than they usually ask a rookie to do. And he doesn't have any other like talented players to lean on. It just seems like
he can handle it though. He can handle it. That's where he's different than other rookie QBs.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of rookie QBs that have to be babied into the league, and you have to just play it safe with them. I mean, you can even say that about RG3 in his first year. Like there were they're really kind of playing safe with him and playing to his strengths and trying
Yeah.
to minimize his mistakes. And so there could be a little bit of that with Bryce Young, but like CJ Stroud, I think it's just they trust him. They trust what he's doing out there, and they're like, this kid can handle it. Let's let him do it.
Yeah.
And so far he's doing it. And I think that's what impresses me the most is just that confidence level. And I think that's what teammates on the Texans have spoken to, that this guy just has like insane confidence in his abilities.
I agree. And
Me
it's
too.
like, so the offensive coordinator for the Texans is this dude Slowick, who came from San Francisco. And so I watch Stroud and I'm like, that's what Shanahan wants. Stroud is what he wants Purdy to be, because Stroud is better than Purdy. CJ Stroud is way better than Purdy. Like the plays that he can make with his feet, the extending plays, like out of structure, out of pocket. I'm like, how is this guy a rookie? How is this dude a rookie? Like I rewatched that game against the Bucks. Whoa, holy crap. Like this guy he's a good player, man. He's like a veteran quarterback already. Like I was shocked by how good he was.
Shanahan's current problem, though, is that his team's never going to be bad enough to draft for a QB like that. Trey Lance was really kind of his last shot, I feel
Yeah.
like, with the 49ers. So now he's going to have to chase after free agents. He's going to have
You
to
know
chase
who
after mercenaries, journeymen, and whatnot.
Mhm.
And
there is an aging quarterback who could be a free agent at the end of this season, who's the star of a Netflix show that Shanahan's always wanted in his offense. Could we see Kirk Cousins is a Niner next season?
I mean, it wouldn't be bad. That would actually be a pretty good place for him to end up.
too expensive, probably. Like Kirk.
He'll take a discount for that team. He would
Yeah, I
take
think he may for a Super Bowl, because I believe
I don't
that
think he
Kirk
would.
Cousins on that offense could win a Super Bowl.
Billings.
I don't think he would. I think it would be like, no, like, especially after an injury like that, of like, no, I probably need to get the money while I can for my family going forward. And that's how I see Kirk Cousins going, is he's gonna get that one last contract.
Okay,
So yeah,
maybe.
don't see him with the 40 like I'd say you're more likely to see Ryan Tannehill in San Francisco than Kirk Cousins.
Okay. So let's do a midseason review. Anything you guys have seen so far to really change your opinion of who the main contenders are in the league?
Like for me, like off the bat, I was just like everyone preseason, I was trying to be clever of like, how can I be different? And I ended up going with the Bills and the Niners. And like at the time, I was like, like in my gut, I was like, it's probably gonna be Chiefs Eagles again, but I just don't want to say that because that's boring. It's gonna be Chiefs Eagles again.
So I'm going to ask you this. So you have less confidence in that pick today than you did in week 1 or preseason when we did this, and you would change it to Chiefs Eagles today.
Yep.
Okay. Fair enough. Interesting. You seemed like you were pretty high on the Bills, but not getting there all the way.
I was high on the Bills. Like definitely should not have been that high on the Bills. I was pretty spot on with the Niners in hindsight, but really it was just no. I was Sports Bud's word of the day. I was trying to delude myself into, oh, it's not gonna be the Chiefs Eagles. There's no way that can happen 2 years in a row. Surely someone will beat them. I don't know if that's gonna happen, especially when both of them are probably gonna get home field advantage throughout.
Okay. I'll spin it over here to Nick and see what your midseason review here is.
What my compared to my my Super Bowl pick, or what I just think overall?
Let's get both.
I think I used up a lot of my things that I was gonna say when I was defending my Dolphins pick a little while back there. Because I think a few of the surprises, to me at least, were like the Chiefs defense is the one carrying that team right now. Another one would probably be that one of my surprises that all 4 teams in the AFC North are 2 games above 500 with all the crap that's gone on with them throughout the first part of the year. That's actually pretty surprising to me. And then, like I was saying before, that I don't think there's any great teams right now. I think there's some really, really good teams, but not great teams like we've had in the past. And it could all be back to what we've talked about before with quarterbacks, how all those Super Bowl winning quarterbacks are gone. So now the league is just filtered with all these other quarterbacks that aren't great, but that are really good. And now I think that their teams are making it a little more even within the NFL, because I think there's legitimately 5 teams that could be going to the Super Bowl from the AFC. And in the NFC, I got at least 3. So I think that's my biggest surprise, a more competitive league, at least around the top.
Oh, that is fair. Yeah, it does seem so. It does seem like defense is stepping up this year and quarterback play is down. So, Super Bowl pick week 1 and today.
I'm sticking with it. I'm sticking with the Sports Bud Super Bowl.
Why?
Because, like I just said, there's legitimate 5 teams in the AFC and 3 teams in the NFC they can go. And I'm counting both the Dolphins and the Cowboys in those.
Okay, that's fair. I agree with you. I'm rocking with you, Nick. I'm sticking with this Sports Bud Super Bowl. This is what I'll say. Chiefs and Eagles, they seem vulnerable to me. They look like they're like I want to go like a boxing analogy. They're like hanging on the ropes. And I just don't see them going to be able to like last, like Billings says. That I don't think either of them get home field. I don't think they're going to be, either of them will be the 1 seeds. I think someone's going to knock them out. They might knock each other out here in another week or so. And past Thanksgiving, we're going to see that team gets hot. And the team that gets hot is going to go ahead and make the run to the Super Bowl. And I don't think it's going to be either one of those teams. I think those teams, it's just too tasky, man. This Eagles team, what are they going to get to? Like, they keep winning games. It's just something's going to catch them. The same thing with the Chiefs, man. Like, the vulnerabilities are showing, that the edges are getting smaller and smaller. Like, I just see these teams getting knocked out, man. I see the season's too long. In like another month, someone goes down for a week, someone goes down for 2 weeks, or like I said, a team just gets hot, and then we're just like, oh yeah, well, like obviously. And that was the first part of the season. And I think we're about to go into like the real nitty gritty of it. Thanksgiving, post Thanksgiving playoffs. And that's when it all changes. It's real tough for me to see them holding on to both of that, staying on top of that like they did last year. So I'm gonna roll with you. I'm gonna say the Cowboys pull it off in the NFC and the Dolphins do in the AFC. So I'm gonna rock with that. Billings, any closing thoughts?
We live in a weird world where I'm picking the favorites, like the favorites in both conferences, and usually I'm the one that makes wild ass picks. That's like, I think the Jags are gonna make it to the fucking Super Bowl. No, I'm the one that's like being like even keel right now, and it scares me. I don't like it.
We're trying to project out, when you do the
Oh, you're
projections.
projecting, all right. You're projecting.
As someone that picked the Chiefs, I wouldn't say that someone is not new to projecting their Billings. So I'm gonna say that you're with us here. We got a family play in that projection field. I don't know. Interesting. I got no other takeaways from the midseason here. Let's wrap this week recap up. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe, follow, comment. Tell us why we're wrong. Tell Chris why he's right. Show us why we're projecting. Tell us why you're projecting. Project into those comments. Like, comment, subscribe. We're the Sports Buds. This has been your Week 9 recap. I'm Tony Parlay. That's Chris Billings, the sane one, the level-headed one. And that's me, Tony Parlay, Nicopedia, over here in our clouds. Thank you guys for watching. Have yourselves a wonderful one.